Grand opera is a big production. It's not something you just casually decide to tackle. Katura Stickin knew she would have her hands full taking on Puccini's Turandot for the first time.
Turandot's a huge show. That's the long and short of it. Turandot is huge. It's deceptively large. There's an awful lot of chorus. We have a unit set, so it's one of those sets that doesn't change a lot in between acts, and so trying to find what our pathway is through the show with all of these people that we have to move around and still tell a coherent story is the hardest thing that I have to put together.
Bringing San Diego Opera's production of Turandot to life required 400 cast and crew members. The cost of mounting Grand Opera is daunting too. So to maximize resources, companies often share sets and costumes. But Stickin had to figure out how to make these sets from a Chicago production and these costumes from a Santa Fe one fit into her vision for the opera.
I had to take those and then put the sets in one place and the costumes in one place and sort of make a little Venn diagram about all of it and see where they all fit in the middle. But it's a constant balancing act of, okay, well, this is how you want to tell this, but it's not going to play on this set, and this costume isn't going to allow you to do it this way.
But that kind of creative challenge can lead to exciting results.
This set has never seen this telling. It's never seen these costumes. These costumes have never been on this set. So in that way, it's actually kind of an interesting box that you put yourself in. You kind of have to just press up against the sides and see how far you can expand it.
Which brings us to the character of Turandot, an alluring Chinese princess who subjects all her suitors to 3 riddles. If they fail to answer them correctly, they're executed, says tenor Carl Tanner.
Everyone's lost their lives that have pined for her before. All have failed the riddles before. And Kalof is just brazen enough, just stupid enough to think that he can do this.
Bringing the title character to life is something soprano Lisa Lindstrom has done many times over the years.
I love the challenge of bringing the humanity to the character. Lots of Puccini heroines have their hearts on their sleeves all night. Turandot does not. Turandot's heart is buried in a block of ice that has to be slowly melted throughout the night.
And each time, the challenge is a little different. For this production, Stickin struggled with bringing the character to life in the midst of a Me Too movement.
There is nothing feminist about this story.
It's about a woman who hates men because all she knows of them is as aggressors who've raped and pillaged. So to take revenge, she decides to kill every man who can't answer her riddles. But then one man answers the riddles. She refuses to marry him. He forcibly kisses her, and then she falls in love with him.
I don't like this story. I don't understand that. I had a lot of trouble with that. And so I started looking at it and thought, well, what if we were looking at this less about romantic love? What if we were looking at less about sexual, corporal love, and we were taking a more divine love approach and looking at this as Kalof's spiritual journey, or if we were looking at Turandot more as his soul, something that's internal for him, that's cut off the light that he has to crack open.
A key factor in helping her come to terms with the story was a poem by Persian poet Rumi entitled Because I Cannot Sleep. It not only reflected the no sleep of the famous aria, Nessun Dorma, but also got the director thinking about what kind of love the opera could be about.
And it's essentially Rumi's version of Nessun Dorma. And what makes Rumi so special is that he was a Sufi poet. He wrote about divine love, he wrote about finding enlightenment, yet he also wrote about sex and love and corporal beauty. When I found that poem, I thought, oh man, this is where we're going. Once I started looking at it in terms of that sort of faith-based struggle, and we started looking at those parameters versus simply it being about a woman needing a man in order to realize that love is good, it started to change the way I was able to look at the story itself.
San Diego Opera's production brings some new shadings to Turandot, but it also delivers on tradition for audiences.
They can expect grand opera in the grandest of sense. Some of the best tunes that Puccini ever wrote, and the most beloved tenor aria, Nessun Dorma.
As Kalof awaits his fate, he sings the famous aria about a sleepless night in the city for all. It's a moment when all the elements of the opera come together in beautiful harmony: music, sets, costumes, and story. Beth Accomando, KPBS News.